Hello, Facebook and Instagram. Ben France here, Ben France Music, coming at you this Friday, the 10th, I believe, of April, for Lunchtime Lessons, a Guitar 101, episode number 8. This is our, obviously, 8th episode or 8th lesson in this series of basic guitar techniques, learning the basics of starting to learn how to play a guitar like this. Looks like someone just tuned in. Siraj, hey, thanks for tuning in, Siraj. Just getting started. Live stream just started. These Guitar 101 lessons that I'm doing all build on the previous lessons, and they're designed to get somebody up and running if you're just learning how to play guitar and just starting out. So, today's lesson is episode 8. All of the previous lessons are available on my Facebook page at facebook.com/BenFranceMusic, or they're on my YouTube channel. If you search YouTube for Benjamin France Music, either one, you will be able to see the previous episodes. And like I said, all of the lessons build on the previous one. So what we're going to cover today is going to be things that build on previous concepts that we've learned in lessons 1 through 7. So if you have not seen those lessons or you weren't here for that, I would highly recommend you going back and reviewing those on my Facebook or on my Instagram page. In addition, I am wanting to start doing some private lessons via maybe Zoom or another streaming platform like this as well. Hey, no problem. Not a problem at all. Like I said, definitely feel free to review the previous lessons through Instagram, or pardon me, through YouTube or through my Facebook page, either one, and you can kind of get up to speed with what we've done so far. Like I started to say, I am also wanting to start doing some private lessons in person here if you're in my area, which is in Southwest Missouri in the United States. Also, I'm going to start doing some lessons via Zoom online as well. So if anyone's wanting to do lessons, but you're not close to me geographically, we can still work something out where we can do lessons remotely via Zoom, via like a video conference, live video conference between the two of us. You can follow me on social media. If you're looking at this on Instagram, you know I'm Benjamin France Music on Instagram. On Facebook at facebook.com/BenFranceMusic. On YouTube under Benjamin France Music. If you just search, that's what my channel is under. I'm also active on Twitter at Ben France Music, and I have signed up for an account, although I haven't actually started posting anything to it yet, on Twitch. I believe that's also under Benjamin France Music. I'm going to hopefully start porting some of these live streams to Twitch as well for people who use that more. So anyway, let's dive into today's lesson. Like I've said on all the previous lessons, these are designed to be short introductory lessons, about 15 to 25 minutes long or so. So I move through the material relatively quick. I do, however, try to explain it in detail during that 15 to 25 minute time frame. And if you do have any questions about this, you can always post them live while we're going through the live streams here. Or you can always DM me or PM me, depending on the platform you're on. Or you can always just shoot me an email to benjaminfrancemusic@gmail.com. Any of those will work, and I will get back to you as quickly as possible to answer any questions or provide any clarification you may need. So we'll start out like we usually do by briefly reviewing what we covered on the last lesson, and then we'll move forward from there. So last lesson, what we did is we learned our first major scale, or our first scale on the guitar. We learned the G major scale, and that was honestly just chosen as a random starting note or a random starting point. And we learned that in the most basic format, which is just on a single string, on our lowest string, string number 6, which is our E string, our low E string. So the G major scale, on the 6th string, playing it just with a single finger, one fret at a time to make it as easy as possible to get the concepts down, sounds like this. There are a couple things we learned about that. We learned first off the notes in that scale, which are G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. The other thing we learned is we learned that there is a pattern to major scales that is very easy to apply to any key or any starting bass note. The pattern is whole step, half step, whole, half, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So just remember that WWH, WWWH. What that means, if you're new to these concepts, we've covered these previously, a whole step on a guitar means you're jumping 2 frets. So if we're starting on fret number 3 for our G, a whole step would be jumping 2 frets higher to fret number 5. Whole step again would be jumping 2 frets higher to fret number 7. Then a half step would be 1 fret. That goes to fret number 8. Then a whole step to fret 10. Whole again to fret 12. Whole again to fret 14. And a half step to fret 15. So, here, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Notes, once again, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. So that is the very basic introductory form, the easiest way when you're first starting out to play a G major scale or to play a major scale. Now, building on that concept, what I want to do now for today's lesson as far as new material is I want us to apply that G major scale across multiple strings. Because it's not very useful when you're playing a melody on a guitar to just be playing it on the 1 string. That's going to do a lot of jumping around. Let's say you wanted to play a 1, 3, 2, 5 melody, meaning your first note in that scale, your third note, your second note, and your fifth note. If you're playing that on 1 string, it'd be like this. There's a lot of jumping back and forth that's not very efficient. There's a lot of motion there that you have to do with your left hand, and it puts you very far out of position depending on what you're trying to do. And for a lot of melodic playing, it puts you very far out of position. If you're starting here, this is your first position in G, or G major, is starting on the 3rd fret. If you're jumping all the way up here to fret number 10, that's putting you way out of the loop there for that first position. So let's talk about how we can construct a G major scale or a G scale, as we've talked about before. In Western music, standard nomenclature, a major scale or a major chord, you just refer to it by the name, meaning you typically won't call it G major if you just call it a G scale. People that are familiar with Western music and know music theory will know what you're talking about. Or if you call it a G chord, you don't have to say G major. They'll know you're talking about a major chord. So, now let's talk about how we can build this scale across multiple strings. Remember, our notes that we have are G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. So, if we do G on this fret, fret number 3, string number 6, then we can do our A on fret number 5, string number 6. Now, our next note is a B. Well, we have a B here, but if we want to stay in this first position between about frets number 2 and frets number 5, we need a different B, but we want the next one up in order, meaning if we're playing this A, we want our next note to be a B, the next B right up above there, so the next one sequentially in tone higher. But we don't want to go up here to fret 7, we want to stay at fret 5 or less. So, where would be the next place we could play a B? If you remember from earlier lessons, string number 5, the string right below this, string number 6 is an E string. String number 5 is an A string. So, if we're looking for a B is 1 whole step or 2 frets above an A. So if this is an A, our open string number 5, then a B note would be 1, 2 frets, or 1 whole step, so that would be this, fret number 2 on string number 5. So, if we want to add that in as our B, as our 3rd note in the G major scale, we could do something like this. We do G, 3rd fret, string 6, A, 5th fret, string 6. We'll play that with our first finger on the G, ring finger on the A, then shift and put your first finger on fret 2 of string 5, that's your B. So there's our first 3 notes. What you'll notice is the same thing as when we were doing this. Only we're making it more economical. We're not moving all over the neck. We're staying in this position between fret 2 and fret 5. So, G is our first or our root. A is our second, which is fret 5 on string number 6. I'm going to try to scooch in here a little bit so you can see that better on the Instagram camera. So G, A, B, first finger on fret 2 of string 5. Now remember, what's our next note? We're going up sequentially. And our pattern is a whole step, a half step. Hey Jacqueline, thanks for stopping by. I'm on episode 8 here of Guitar 101, part of my Lunchtime lesson series. So I appreciate you stopping by. So if we're talking, we've got a whole step between 1 and 2, a whole step between 2 and 3, between our A and B, then we have a half step, which is our next one, takes us up to C. So if our B, on our, staying in our box here, fret 2 to fret 5, if our B is fret number 2 on string number 5, a half step above that, fret number 3, that's our C note. So once again, let's stay in this box, fret 2 to fret 5, so we would have fret 3 on string 6, G, with our first finger. Fret 5 on string 6, A, with our ring finger. Fret 2 on string 5 with our index finger is our B. Slide up, fret 3 on string number 5 is our C. So, next we go a whole step again. So remember, we're doing whole, whole, half. Whole is the next one. So 2 frets up more. We use our third finger. We put that on fret number 5 of the 5th string. That's our D. So now we have G, A, B, C, D. So we need to go whole again, remember. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So whole step, half step, whole step. Our next note then is an E. If you remember, our string number 4 from an earlier lesson, that is our D string. So a whole step above that, or 2 frets above that, is this note. This is an E. So G, A, B, C, D, E. First finger, ring finger, first finger, slide up first finger, ring finger, first finger. Notes are, or frets are, string number 6, fret 3, string number 6, fret 5, string number 5, fret 2, string number 5, fret 3, string number 5, fret 5, string number 4, fret 2. Now remember, it's a half step next. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So we go 1 fret up on string number 3, or pardon me, 2 frets up because it's a whole step, my bad. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So we go 2 frets up to fret number 4 on string number 4. That's our F sharp, which if we remember when we were playing it on the lowest string, all notes on one string, it was. So now we have this. And our final note, to bring it back around, is a G, which is fret number 5 on string number 3. That's our octave. Same note, an octave, or 12 steps higher. So, now, let's look at the fingering on that, how we've played it so far. We were doing fingers, first finger on fret 3 of string 6. Ring finger on fret 5 of string 6. First finger on fret 2 of string 5, sliding up first finger on fret 3 of string 5, ring finger on fret 5 of string 5, first finger on fret 2 of string 4, ring finger on fret 4 of string 4, and then sliding up, ring finger on fret 5 of string 4. Now that's a way to do that. Those are probably stronger fingers at this point because you're still learning if you're just starting out. Your dexterity may not be great on your left hand yet. We talked about exercises on that earlier on in early episodes. I would highly recommend you continue working on those and refer back to those if you've not. And once again, if you have questions about that, don't hesitate to reach out to me and let me know. But remember, I'm always talking about efficiency, economy of motion, talking about ways that we can make this as little movement as possible to accomplish the same thing. Because while people jumping from here to here may look impressive, it's not real economical. And when you're first learning how to play, and if you're wanting to start to learn to play melodies and lead lines, makes a lot more sense to stay economy of motions, to stay as close as you can here. Stay in this 2 to 5 box instead of jumping all over. So, along those same lines, there are ways that we can also make this even more economical, have even less movement. Remember, we're playing it like this. First finger, I'm going to do it by finger numbers. 1, 3, 1, 1, 3, 1, 3, 3. Notice there's a little bit of sliding. We're shifting positions here. We're going between here and here, fret 2 and 3, fret 4 and 5. We're sliding, so we're moving our hand. There's another way we can do this. So, to make this more economical on our movement, what I want you to do is I want you to start with that low note, the G note, on string 6, but start that with your middle finger instead of with your first finger. So instead of playing it like this, fret 3, string 6, first finger, play it with your middle finger instead. Okay, so there's our G. Now, instead of playing fret 5 with your third finger, your ring finger, I want you to play that with your pinky. That's going to be a little harder to do, especially when you're first starting out, because I've said many times, this finger right here, your pinky finger is typically going to be the weakest finger you have when it comes to fretting or playing notes, but that's okay. The more you do it, the more you'll build it up, the better you'll get at it. So, I want you to do this. I want you to do middle finger on fret 3 of string 6, pinky on fret 5 of string 6. Now, we want to do first finger on fret 2 of string 5, middle finger on fret 3, so instead of sliding like this, we're going to do this. Same thing, pinky on fret 5. So, instead of going, do it this way. Middle finger, pinky. First finger, middle finger, pinky. First finger on fret 2 of string 4. Ring finger on fret 4. And you'll notice that that falls pretty naturally. Depending on the size of your hands, when you have your hands just lined up here on the fretboard, between fret 2 and fret 4, that's pretty natural where you're not really having to stretch your hands a whole lot to make that reach. You're not doing something like this. They line up pretty good there. So, fret 2, string 4, first finger. Fret 4, string 4, ring finger. And fret 5, string 4 with your pinky again. So let's walk through that really, really slowly once again. And I'm exaggerating the movement on my left hand so you can see the individual notes and how we're playing those, how we're fretting those. So let's do that again. Oh, pardon. Okay, so that's our G major scale played across 3 strings and played with a couple different fingering patterns. Remember, you can do that initially with just these 2 fingers, which are typically your 2 stronger fingers, or 2 of your strongest fingers, your first finger and your ring finger, by sliding up. However, I would really like you to practice using those alternate fingerings the second way I showed you to play that, because that's a lot more efficient and it'll help you build up strength in your left hand. So practice doing it like this. We're going to go through it slow one more time both ways. So, and practice it both ways, because the more you use your left hand to do different things and you make your fingers do different patterns, the stronger it's going to get and the better you're going to get. So don't just practice this one way or the other. Practice both ways. So starting out, the first way we learned to play this, and I'm checking our time here, we're almost 20 minutes in. So, string number, we're playing the G major scale, or the G scale, across strings number 6, 5, and 4. What we're playing, the first way we learned it today, is finger number 1, fret number 3. That's our root note, or our first note, a G. Take finger number 3, your ring finger, put that on fret number 5. That's our second note. That is an A. Shift your hand just a little bit. Take finger number 1, put it on fret number 2 of string number 5. That's a B. Slide that finger up 1 fret to fret number 3 on string number 5. That's a C. Use your ring finger again on fret number 5 of string number 5. That's a D. Shift your hand just slightly again. Finger number 1 on fret number 2 of string number 4. That's an E. Now we do ring finger, finger number 3 on fret number 4 of string number 4. That's an F sharp. And and slide that up 1 fret or 1 step to fret number 5 on your 4th string. That is a G, so that's our octave. We're back at the start. It goes like this, a little bit slowly, but doing it all together. A little bit faster. Okay, now let's do the alternate fingering, the second one I showed you. And this is the one, like I said, remember, this is more economical. You're not having to shift your hand around and slide around as much on the fretboard to play the notes. So we're starting on string number 6, fret number 3 with the middle finger. We are playing, that's G, our first note, our root note. We are taking our pinky, we are putting that on fret number 5 on string number 6. That gives us an A. That is our second. We are taking our first finger, we're putting that on fret number 2 of string number 5. That gives us a B, our third. We are taking our middle finger, we're putting that on fret number 3 on string number 5. That is a C, that is our 4th tone in this scale. We are taking our pinky, putting that on fret number 5. That is a D, that is our 5th in this scale. We take our index finger, put that on fret number 2 of string number 4. That gives us an E. That is our 6th in this scale. We take our ring finger, put that on fret number 4 on string number 4. That gives us an F sharp. That is our 7th tone in this scale. And finally, we're putting our pinky on fret number 5 of string number 4. That gives us another G. So that is actually either our root or an 8th, depending on how you look at it from a theory perspective. But essentially, we're back to the start with a G again. So let's play that one all the way through once. Notice how much less movement there is shifting my hand back and forth doing it this way versus this. Notice that sliding goes away when we play it the second way, second finger. So, play that slowly as many times as you need to get comfortable with the fingering. Also, remember to always vary your right hand technique on what you're doing picking-wise. This is showing up really well on the Facebook camera. I'll try to raise the... I'll just bring my finger up here higher on the neck for Instagram. But vary your picking. Don't always play downstrokes. Don't always do this. Vary it, alternate pick it, go back and forth. And you can practice both, but it's going to help you. So do things like this picking. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Same thing with your other fingering. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Same thing with your scale there. You've noticed, obviously, that I descended or went back down the notes of the scale. So if our ascending notes are like this, then you can also descend, going the other direction, going back down. So go as slow as you need to. You're probably not, if you're just learning this and you're just starting out on guitar, you're probably not going to even be able to play that fast. And realistically, you may be watching your left hand when you do it, and that's okay. Just focus on the technique. Focus on making sure that you're hitting each note cleanly, and that your fingering's right so the notes are ringing out correctly. And like we said, that's a G major scale, so your G major chord that we learned of your G chord, that scale goes right over the top of that. So also, if you're playing anything in the key of G major, which we'll talk more about that as we get further into the lessons, that is one of the scales you can use to put a melody over your chord. So if you're playing something in a G major key, So if you're playing a chord progression in that key, you can play that scale over it to create a melody. Pardon, wrong note there. So that is what we're going to cover for today. That is the second way, or the first efficient way to play a G major scale. Also remember what we talked about last week, the major scale, that pattern that we learned for the major scale, or what we talked about last time on Wednesday on episode 7. Major, major, or whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, meaning the steps of the scale. If you're starting on 3s, your root, you go whole step, 2 frets, whole step, 2 frets, half step, 1 fret, whole step, 2 frets, whole step, 2 frets, whole step, 2 frets, 1 step, half, 1 step, 1 half step, 1 fret, pardon me, that's that. Remember, that applies to any scale, any major scale. So, our steps, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. That would also apply to any different major scale starting from any other root note. So if you start on on fret number 5, that's an A. Remember, we just learned that because that's our second. If our first of G is here, a whole step up 2 frets, that's an A. So if you start on an A with that exact same pattern, you would have an A major scale. Root A, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step. So there's an A. All right, hope that was helpful for you all. Like I say every time on these live stream lessons, do a stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 1:15 Central Standard Time. That is GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, minus 5 hours, meaning it's 5 hours behind. So if you happen to be in GMT right now and you're seeing this, it's about 6:45 in the evening your time, about 1:45 where I'm at locally. So, as always, I would appreciate feedback and comments. If you tell me things that you think are helpful on this, things that maybe you would like to see more of, anything like that. And as I said previously, I would love to start doing some individual private lessons. We can do that via Zoom pretty easily. And I would love to get that set up with anybody who's interested, not in my local area. If you are in my local area, the Southwest Missouri area, Springfield area, somewhere Springfield-ish area, I'd love to do in-person lessons once COVID-19 is back under control. In the meantime, we could still do Zoom lessons or do live stream lessons remotely like this between the two of us. All you would need would be a way for us to hear each other, a way for us to see each other, and a guitar. So, ways you can follow me once again to find this content, find this information. Here on Facebook, obviously, facebook.com/BenFranceMusic. On Instagram, I'm under Benjamin France Music. If you're watching the Instagram live stream, that's where you're seeing me on Instagram. Hi, Instagram. Also, I do upload these lessons as a saved video. Try to get it by midnight on the same day, and that goes to my Facebook channel or my Facebook page I just mentioned. And also goes to my YouTube, which if you search YouTube for Benjamin France Music, you'll find me on YouTube as well. And there's a playlist I've created that is guitar lessons, and they're in there sequential, so you can see what lesson number it is based on the name of that video. As always, you can reach out to me directly, benjaminfrancemusic@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you if you're interested in more in-depth content, more advanced stuff than this, or if you are just interested in collaboration, anything like that related to music, I'm always up for that as well. So, hope everyone is doing well. It is Friday afternoon, about 1:45, so this is the end of our 15 to 30-ish minute lesson for today. We will be back here at 1:15 in the afternoon on Monday the 13th, where we will continue on our journey to learn more about this instrument and how to make music out of it. Take care, everyone.